Okay, yeah, that's a good question. So the first thing I would do is to start creating what can be an auditable track record. So what you need to start doing if you're not already doing this is set up a separate brokerage account. Hopefully one from where you're not writing checks for your groceries and such. And it doesn't matter what amount you put in. You could have $5,000 or $10,000 in that account, for example, and you trade on that account the way you would trade $1 million or $100 million portfolio, for example. And you see, it'll give you a couple of data points. One is so don't do this on paper. It needs to be real money with a real broker. And the first thing is you will yourself get data on how good an investor you are. So after a few years, after 3 years or 5 years or 7 years, you will know whether you are meaningfully better than most investors or not, because the data will start pointing you in a particular direction. And also you learn a lot, which is great. And that can go on while you have another day job and such. So you can start building that today while you're a student and such. The second thing that you can do is, to the extent that it doesn't have a conflict with your employer, um, and you've got some years that you spent investing your own money and done well with it, then what you can do is you can go to friends, family, and fools, and especially the fools, they're the most important, and try to convince them to give you some money to manage, and start building now a record with more than just your own money. And you can do both of these things when you have a day job, as long as your day job is not managing money, or if your employer doesn't object to these types of activities. And over time, if you do well, so like I said, even small outperformance versus the market is pretty rare on a long-term basis. So if you're outperforming the market by 3% or 5% or any numbers like that, um, Buffett says that you can be in the middle of the Atlantic and potential investors will swim to you in shark-infested waters, in the middle of the Atlantic to invest with you if you are doing well as an investor. So if you do well, then your existing investors are likely to give you more money to manage, and they're likely to introduce you to other people and such that they know. And so the assets under management will probably grow.